Hello everyone, I am Priyajit Kundu. Welcome to my channel. Today I will show you that how is the Byju's trial class. So today is my science workshop class. You can see it. Here it is. This is science workshop class from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now it's 9:55. Only 4 minutes 46 seconds are left. This is me. Here season will start automatically after some time, means after 4 minutes and 34 seconds. So let's wait for that time. And my tutor is Gopika P. I don't know the full form of Gopika P. Just I know that it's written Gopika, and there are many students like me. Like I am not telling everyone's name. Here is Mayank, Amborkar, Adho Byju, and also Chi Sri. I don't know who are them, but my class is going to start now after 3 minutes. So let's wait for that time. And let's open my Byju's dashboard. So this is my Byju's dashboard link. So I will go here. I will log in. Because I have an account. I will log in. Class will start now. 3 minutes left. Here, this is the class which I am going to join. This is Byju's classes. It's the practice questions, chapter wise test, and revision also is there. Ask a doubt is there, revision is there, downloads are there, and there are also the bookmarks. And if I go to my home, then what it will come is the class will start in 2 minutes. And let's wait for 2 minutes. It's August 29, Sunday, 10 a.m. There is a class and unlimited practice. I will do this unlimited practice after the class. I will make a video on this tape test. Here are the topics covered. Because I have not started any classes, so it's not any classes from here. So my classes start in 1 minute. So I am going there. Yes, it will start now. A little time is left. This is the scroller. Using this I will see everyone's name, like Yash Chaudhary. So this is Yash Chaudhary. I don't know who is this Yash Chaudhary. This is any Tejale Krishnan. I don't know who is this. This is Pratik Munjabhau Maske. I don't know who is this. This is Aditi. Anyone Aditi? Ivory Claire Adolfo. He is not Indian, I think so. This name is not of Indians. Oh, my class is starting. I am allowing mic and allowing the camera also. I am turning off the camera. So let's do the class. I will turn off my mic also. Class is getting ready now. When this drawing class will be enabled, I will join the class. It will be enabled at 9:50, means exactly at 10. Let's wait for some time. Now I will join. I have joined now.
A very, very warm welcome to Byju's classes. I hope you all are doing well.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello?
I am ready.
Yes, Rahul, I can hear you.
I am ready.
Yes, Rahul, I can hear you.
I am Joy. I am the Rahul. Hello, ma'am. I am the
Okay,
Joy.
yes, I can
Hello,
see
ma'am.
you
Hello,
all.
ma'am.
Good
Okay,
morning, ma'am. I
so
am
let's begin
Priyajit
with the
Kundu.
class.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good
Okay,
morning.
so I hope you all are doing great. And my name is Gopika. And today I will be taking you all through the very, very interesting topic of our universe. Okay, so what are we going to learn today? We are going to learn about our universe and we are going to explore our universe together. Okay, so before we start with the session, there are some tools that I have to introduce to you all. So in the top corner of the screen, you all can see one video option, right? So that is basically to turn the video on as well as turn the video off. It is according to you. Okay. And next to that, you can see a mute or unmute option or an audio option. So whenever you want to speak, you can just use that option. Okay. And next to that, you are having a message symbol, right? A text message symbol. That is basically the chat box option. Okay. And next to that you can see a raise hand option. So whenever you have to say something when I am teaching something in the class, or whenever you have to ask something in the class, you can raise the hand and you can unmute yourself and you can ask your doubt or even read the questions. Okay. And in case if you are facing some issues and your internet is proper, then you are having one more option, that is the troubleshoot option, which you can see there itself. Okay. So everybody, I hope you all are clear with the tools that you are going to use in today's session as well as in all the upcoming sessions. Okay. Now, can all of you just say hi in the chat box just to make sure that you all have joined the session and everything? Yes, I can already see most of you have. Yes, most of you have said it. Okay, I can see Satyam wants to start the class immediately and learn. Okay, so I can see lot of new students are here. So a very very warm welcome everyone. Okay, and Om would love to know about two teacher model. So definitely we are going to discuss this towards the end of the session. Okay. All right, everyone. Okay, so let's quickly head into the class now. So, what are you guys been up to these days? What are you guys been doing these days? We know we are stuck in lockdown since nearly 2 years, right? So, what are you guys been doing this time? Especially during the night time. What were you all doing in the night time? Okay, making apps. Very good, Bridget. Okay, studying. Okay, okay, it's very good. So, do you all used to watch the night sky? Have you all seen the night sky? Yes, right. So, talking about the night sky, today we are going to learn a lot about the night sky, and it will even change the way you look at the night sky. Okay, so talking about it, why don't we have a look at it? So, what you can see here on the screen is a beautiful night sky, and it is sparkling with all these shining stars, right? So, it really looks like someone has scattered diamonds in the night sky, right? So, I have a question. Though we study this rhyme called Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and it appears to be twinkle to us sometimes, do they really twinkle or is it some kind of illusion that we have? Do the stars really twinkle? What do you all think about this?
Ma'am, they appear to twinkle because of they are far away from us and they have their own light, and that's why they appear to twinkle at the night sky.
Okay, Bridget. So let's understand whether it is true or not. Okay, so you all think the stars twinkle, right? Probably is because you all have learned the rhyme, I think, because we all have learned that, right? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Anyways, let's go understand whether they actually twinkle or is it some kind of feeling that we are getting or the reason behind it. Okay, so everyone,
Hello.
let's quickly go watch a learning nugget and come back. Yes, yes, Rahul has to say something. Yes, Rahul, you can unmute yourself and say.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Rahul.
I'm Naga.
I'm
Okay,
Naga.
Naga. Yes, Naga.
Ma'am, I am new student for the Byju's class.
Okay. Okay, so I hope everything is going very well. We're so happy to be here. Okay, all right. So, students, in case if you're having any doubt, I will be giving the mentor helpline number as well. So, related with the class, you can also contact the mentor. Okay, now are you all ready to watch this learning nugget? Are you all ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's go watch
I
it.
am new
Come
student.
back soon.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, Ajay. Ajay, I can hear you. Yes.
Ma'am, I am new student.
Okay, so a very, very, very warm welcome to all of you who joined recently. Okay, so we are really, really happy to have you all. Okay,
Ma'am,
yes, Shweta. Yes, Aditi. Yes.
ma'am, I am new in the class.
Okay, so very good, everyone. So it's really, really happy to see you all. Okay, so I hope you all are able to see the screen, right? So we were discussing about the beautiful night sky, where you all could see a lot of beautiful twinkling stars, and we are going to uncover the mystery behind the twinkling stars now. Okay, so everybody, let's go watch it and come back soon. There are going to be lot of interesting challenges as well. Okay, so I want all of you to be very curious, very attentive, very interesting to the session like this. Okay, so everybody ready? Let's go watch it and come back soon.
Why do stars twinkle? All around the earth, we have the atmosphere, different layers of warm and cold air that are constantly moving about. Now imagine a star that is far away from the earth. Light from the star travels in a straight line through space, and once it reaches the atmosphere, these different moving layers of air cause the light to bend randomly before it reaches our eyes. Our mind traces back the path of light rays, and we see the star in a different position.
Right, everyone. So now I hope you all have understood why the stars really twinkle, right? Okay, so you all might have heard some new terms like atmosphere now, right? So what is atmosphere? Can anybody tell me what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is
Ma'am,
basically
can I tell? Ma'am, can I tell? Ma'am,
a
Priyajit.
layer that surrounds the earth, right?
Ma'am, this
Layer.
is the layer of the air which surrounds the earth. This
Yes,
is the
very
layer.
good. So basically, it is a layer of air, right? And you might have also understood that when we
When
go
we
to
go to
space,
space,
there is no air, right? Okay, so now let's discuss one more interesting thing. So I have a question here. What if there is no air? What if there is no air? Do the stars still appear to be twinkling? What do you all think about this? So this is how we can see the stars. If we are looking at the stars from the earth, right, it will be twinkling. Of course, we have discussed the reason as well. So if we go to space, how can we see it? Do they still twinkle? What do you all think about this now? Okay, so the answer is no. So if we
No,
go
ma'am,
to
because of it
space
doesn't
and look
twinkle.
at the same star from the space, it will not be twinkling. Okay, so the reason behind it is already we have already discussed it. Since there is no air in the atmosphere, and since there is no since there is no air in the space, or since there is no atmosphere in the space, and since there is no change in the path that is traveled by the light, the stars will not be appearing to be twinkling when we go and look at it from the space. Okay, so when we look at the stars from the earth, it will be twinkling, and we know the reason. Since there is different layers in the atmosphere, there will be a bending in the path of the light, or there will be a change in the path of the light, right? And when we go to space, since there is no air and since there is no atmosphere, there will not be any bending or change in the path that is traveled by the light, and due to that, there will not be any change in the path, there will not be any twinkling, there will not be any twinkling as well. Okay, now let's discuss an interesting question, and I can definitely understand whether you all understood this concept or not. Okay, so here is an interesting question, and I want someone to raise the hand and read this question. So can anybody read this question for all of us? Anybody? Can anybody raise the hand?
Ma'am, I Priyajit Kundu.
Yes, Priyajit, yes, you have raised the hand, I could see it. Please read the question.
When viewed from which of the following places star will not twinkle?
Okay, so how many options do we have here? We are having three options, right? We are having option A, moon, we are having option B, boat, and we are having option C, Mount Everest. So far we discussed, when we look at the stars from the earth, it will be twinkling, right? So what is the question here? When viewed from which of the places they will not twinkle? Okay, so the stars should not be twinkling when we are looking at some of the places that are given in the option. Okay, so you guys are having 10 seconds time to answer this question in the chat box. Okay, and your time starts now. Everybody, just make sure that you guys are answering. All right, I can see a lot of answers have already came up. All right, so great everyone. So that was a brilliant response from all of you. Okay, all right, everyone. So let's discuss the answer now. So what is going to be the answer? Well, here we also learned, right? We already learned that the when we are looking at the stars from the earth, they will be twinkling, and if we are looking at the stars from the space, it will not be twinkling since there is no air, no atmosphere, and no change in the path that is traveled by the light, right? So both as well as Mount Everest are located in the earth, right? And as we discussed, earth has an atmosphere to protect us, to surround us. So the stars would appear to be twinkling in these two cases. And what is our question? From which of the places it will not be twinkling? Okay. So what about the moon? We know the moon is located in the space, right? And since it does not have a layer of air or atmosphere, this means that if you are looking at the stars from the moon, it will not be twinkling. Okay, so good job in solving that tricky question, everyone. I can see a lot of responses coming up, and most of the answers are right. So very good, everyone. So in case if you could not make it this time, don't worry. There are a lot of chances coming up for you, all of you. Okay, so don't worry. So let's go back and look at the night sky once again. So along with the stars, you all have watched the moon as well in the night sky, right? So moon is basically the main center of attraction in the night sky. Have you all watched
Ma'am.
the moon? Yes, Rahul.
Yes, ma'am.
The
Yes,
king
ma'am. I
of
have
night
watched.
star, night sky.
Yes, ma'am. I have watched the moon.
Oh,
Ma'am,
very good. So I hope
ma'am, nine
you
star.
have watched it.
Yes, Mama, I also watch.
Okay, so Aditi, do you want to read the question? So whenever next question comes, I will give the chance to you. Okay. All right, fine. So the moon is basically the king of the night sky, which means it is the main center of attraction, right? So along with the stars, I completely forgot that moon is also there in the night sky, right? So you all might have seen moon, right? I can already see all of you have seen moon. So you all might have observed the shape of the moon as well, right? So do this moon always look like this perfect round shape, or does it change the shape? What do you all think about this?
Shape.
It changes shape. So okay, Aditi. So all of you are saying that the moon changes its shape, right? Okay. So
Ma'am,
yes, very good.
ma'am, moon
So that
doesn't
means
change
you
its
all are
shape.
having very
Ma'am.
good observation skills. So I really appreciate that. So sometimes the moon will be appearing like this, like perfect round in the perfect round shape in the night sky, right? And sometimes we can see a little bit portion from the moon is missing, right? We can only see this much in the night sky. And sometimes you all might have seen the half moon, right? Which means you can only see the half portion of the moon in the night sky, right? Have you all seen half moon ever?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, from today onwards, you can just look at the night sky every day. So one day you will definitely going to see this. Okay, all right. And then sometimes you can see the moon like this, right? Which means only a little bit portion is there, and a
Ma'am,
majority of the portion is missing, right? And there are nights when there is no moon in the night sky as well, right? When there is no moon, we will be representing it like this. Okay, so moon constantly changes the shape. So we have understood that moon changes the shape. Okay. Now what we have to understand is the reason behind it. Okay. So why does the moon changes the shape? Why is it changing the shape? What is the reason? What would be the reason behind it? So you all are very, very curious to know, right? Yes? Okay. And also, I can see that Om is having an interesting doubt. It is related with the two teachers. Okay. So there will be one master tutor who will be teaching you throughout the class. Okay. So there will be one tutor who will be teaching you throughout the class. And there will be one master tutor. So whenever there is an important questions or important concept is there, the master tutor will be taking you through this concept, and he will be explaining this concept in a better way, in a more animated way, so that you will definitely understand the concept. Okay, so there will be literally two tutors. Other than me, there will be one more tutor who is teaching you in today's session. Okay, so in every session you will be having two teachers. So that is the dual teacher method. Okay, so I hope that is clear to you. You were asking that in the chat box, and that is a very good question. So we will definitely going to discuss this towards the end. Okay. Anyways, so now in order to uncover the mystery behind or the reason behind why the moon changes its shape, let's go watch a class that is done by our master tutor. Okay. So let me introduce a master tutor to all of you, and all of you, please be very careful throughout the class because there will be some interesting, tricky questions coming up after the class. Okay? All right, so let's go on.
The moon is just a giant rock in the sky, right? Then how does it change shape? To answer that, let's do an experiment. This is the experiment. Now, I want you to imagine that I am floating somewhere in space, and that bright light over there is the sun. This white ball is the moon, and I am the earth. What does the moon do? The moon also rotates and revolves in such a way that only one side faces the earth all the time. For example, it does something like this. So if this is the moon and I am the earth, it goes around the earth like this. But the thing is, it's not exactly like this. What I mean is that the plane of revolution of the moon is slightly tilted. Now, let's look at what the moon will look like as it goes around the earth from the earth's point of view. Or in other words, what the moon will look like as it goes around from my point of view. Now, let's say this is the first position in its cycle. As you see, it's just in between the earth and the moon, so therefore you can't really see it from the earth. right? Because the side of the moon that's lit is facing the other way. So it's just impossible to see the moon when it's like this. Okay? But then the moon starts moving, right? It starts revolving around the earth. So in about 3 days or so, it comes to this position. Now you see that you can see a part of the moon, right? A part of the side that's facing us is lit, a very small portion, and it's curved like this. This phase is called the crescent moon. It's very common, very popular. More specifically, it's the waxing crescent. Now the moon starts moving again, or it continues to move in its cycle, and in about 3 days' time, it reaches this portion. This phase is called the first quarter because the moon has completed approximately about a quarter of its cycle. And what you see is just that half of the side that's facing us is lit, exactly half, right? Okay? The moon keeps moving again. This phase is called the waxing gibbous. In this phase, you see that about 3/4 of the side that's facing us is lit, or a little more than half of the side that's facing us is lit. Now, in this portion, we see probably the most popular phase of them all, maybe even the most beautiful. You see that the side that's facing us is completely lit, and this phase is called the full moon. In this portion, the moon has completed exactly half of its cycle, so now it starts coming back towards the sun. And in about 3 days or so, this phase is what it reaches, and this is called the waning gibbous. As the moon moves even further, the next phase we reach is called the third quarter. And in this phase, exactly half of the side that's facing us is lit again, just like the first quarter. Now, this phase is called the third quarter because the moon has completed approximately 3/4 of its cycle around the earth. As it moves further, it reaches a phase called the waning crescent. Again, this is very similar to the waxing crescent, but the difference being it's on the other side. And finally, the moon reaches the push where it all began, the phase called the new moon. So after this, the cycle just continues to repeat.
Now that was a very brilliant explanation by our master tutor, and now I really hope you all understood why the moon changed the shape, right? Okay, so why the moon changed the shape with respect to the position of the moon, earth and sun, right? Okay, so we even understood why this phase change happened with respect to the position of the earth as well as sun and how it affects the phase of the moon, right? Now, why don't we solve some interesting challenges that we have here? So I hope all of you can see the screen, and I want Aditi to read this question. So Aditi, can you please read this question for all of us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's July. Ma'am, 30 July. Ma'am, 30 July.
Aditi, can you please read the question?
If July 24 is a full moon day, which of the following is a probable date of a new moon day?
Okay. Right. So Gunjan, I really hope everything is going well. Okay, so in case if you are facing any
Ma'am,
issue,
30 July answer.
okay, Gunjan, let's see. Okay, so we will be giving you time.
Ma'am, July 9. Ma'am,
Okay, so you can give the answer in the
August.
chat box.
Ma'am, August. Ma'am, August.
Okay, so let's see. So students, what you have to make sure here, you just don't have to say the months, okay? You also have to say the date. You also have to specify the date that is given here, okay? All right. So what is the question here? If July 24th is a full moon day, which of the following is a probable date of a new moon day? So this question is about the time interval in which the moon changes the shape, right? From a full moon to a new moon. So how many days will be taking from a moon to change the shape from a full moon to a new moon? it will be taking around 15 days, right? So you can get the answer either by adding 15 days to the current day that is given here, or by subtracting 15 days to the date that is given here. Okay, so that is how you will come to the answer. Okay, all right students, now this is time for you to answer this question in the chat box. You guys are having 10 seconds time to answer this question. So open the chat box. I hope all of you can see the chat box already. So please open the chat box and answer this question in the 10 seconds time. Okay. All right, I can see lot of answers coming up. Yes, Gunjan, I could see your answers. Yes, yes. Yes, Mayal. So I hope you all have answered this question. Rahul, did you answer this question? Shaudia, Aditri, did you all answer this question? Vinisha, did you answer this question? Teja Lakshmi, did you answer this question? Naga, did you answer this question? So everybody just make sure that you are answering very quickly in the chat box. Yes, I can see Teja Lakshmi's answer, Shaurya's answer. Aditri, can you please answer this question in the chat box? All right, everyone. So time is up. Yes, I can see more answers. All right. So what will be the answer here? So from the video, you all have understood that it will be taking around 15 days from changing from for changing the shape from a full moon to a new moon day, right? So you can add 15 days to July 24, then that will be a new moon day. All right. But here, if you are adding 15 days to July 24, that will be August 8, and that is not in our options. Okay, so what can be done? We also should think that 15 days before the date of the full moon is also a new moon, right? That will also be a new moon, right? So the gap between a full moon to new moon is 15 days. All right, so the answer can be July 9th. If you are deducting or subtracting 15 days from the current answer that is given here, then July 9th will be the answer. Okay, so here the right answer is July 9th. Okay, so I can see most of you have made a very good attempt, so I really appreciate that. So always remember, the gap between a full moon to a new moon is 15 days. Okay, all right, and it will be taking around a month for the moon to change the shape from a full moon back to a full moon. Okay, so I think that was an interesting challenge and we solved it together. Okay, now it's time for you all to solve one more interesting question. And I want someone to read this question. So can anybody raise the hand? Yes, sure. Can you please read this question? Okay.
What is the shape of the moon in this case as put from the earth?
As from the earth. Very good, everyone. Okay, so if moon is located here in between the sun and our mother planet earth, what will be the shape of the moon? So if somebody is looking at a moon from here, okay, so there is a moon gazer like some of you, okay, and they are staring at the moon at this space. How can he or she see the moon at this space? Okay, if it is located between the sun and earth. Okay, so you guys are having 4 options here, and you guys have to choose one option out of that. You guys are having 10 seconds time. Yes, I can already see some of you have answered. Very good, everyone. That was so fast. Okay, so everybody just make sure that you guys are answering this question in 10 seconds time in the chat box, and your time starts now. Yes, very good, everyone. All right, so time is up. So I think most of you have already answered this question, right? Okay, so we learned from our master tutor that when the moon is between the earth and the sun, the shape of the moon or the face of the moon that is visible in the night sky would be of a new moon phase, right? That is, we will not be able to see the moon at all. So even if we try to look at the moon in that day, when it is going through this new moon phase, we cannot see the moon in the night sky. Okay, so if it is located between the earth and the sun, we cannot see the moon in the night sky. That will be representing a new moon phase. So here option D is representing a new moon phase. Okay, and what are the other options representing? Option A is basically full moon. We can see a complete or full moon right there, right? And next to that, what we can see is the gibbous phase of moon. Okay, a little bit portion of the moon is absent, and the moon is there, but yeah, the moon will be there, but a little bit portion of the moon is absent. Okay, the majority of the portion of the moon will be there. And then option C is crescent moon, which means a little bit portion only we can see. Okay, so that is about the crescent moon. So here the right answer is option B. So are you all clear with this question? In case if you're having any doubt related with this particular question, you can ask right now. So are you all clear with this question? Yes, everybody. So all of you have tried really, really well. Yes, Eldo. Yes, Pradeep. All of you very good. Yes, Gunjan. Yes, Aditi. Option D is the answer. So I hope everybody is clear. Yes, yes, I could see your answer. So yes, Tejalasmi, yes, very good, everyone. So all of you have made a great, great response, and all of you made it right. So that is really good. So I can see Survi is clear with this. What about others? Are you all clear with this question? You guys have any doubt? Yes, Naga Harshita, I could see your
I
answer.
don't have any doubt. It's clear to me.
Is clear to you? Okay, that is really good. Okay, so yes, so Naga Harshita, just make sure that from next time onwards you're answering in the time limit that is given. Okay, yes. All right, everyone.
30 minutes are there. After 30 minutes, the class will end. So let's wait.
Okay, yes, Aditi, yes. Do you want to say something to us?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Okay.
like you tell the answer is so how can we know about ma'am next class when how can we know about the where is it because I think that is the moon is on.
Aditi, actually your voice is breaking. So can you please ask this question in the chat box?
Ma'am, I am
Yes,
Priyajit Kundu. I have one
Okay, Aditi,
question.
thank you. Okay, is it Priyajit?
Yes, ma'am. I have
Okay.
a question related to Byju's classes. Ma'am, how
Okay.
can I book my Byju's one-on-one classes?
Okay, so for that you can contact the mentor. Okay, so there will be a mentor assigned to you, and you can contact them after also. But right now I will be giving the mentor helpline number in the chat box. So Priyanjit, just contact the mentor after the class. Okay, they will be helping you to clear all your doubts related with the Byju's classes. So everyone, if you all are having any doubt related with Byju's classes, and if you would love to join, or if you would love to recommend it to someone, or whatever it is, if it is related with our Byju's classes, you can contact the mentor. Okay, so I have given mentor helpline number in the chat box. So you can contact the mentor between 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so everybody clear? So Priyanjit, so please contact the mentor after the class. Okay. So that is clear to you, right? Yes, Gunjan. Next time for the timing
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
next
Okay.
class, you can call us at 92-435-00460. Okay, so that is the mentor helpline number. Okay, so you all can contact the mentor helpline number. So just make a note of it so that you can contact it anytime.
Ma'am, next
Okay. Yes, Naga Harshida, please go on.
class when it will be ma'am.
Yes, for that you can contact the mentor. Okay, so for all of you, if you want to know about the next class, you can contact the mentor. Okay, everybody clear with that?
Okay.
Okay, now it's time for us to get back to the next day. So I hope all of you are not having any more doubt. So if you're having any doubt, you can also ask it in the chat box. Okay, all right, students. So I have a question here. So can you all drop a pen? You can tie it after the class also. So whenever you drop a pen or pencil or whatever it is, it will be going down or it will be falling down, right? So whenever I am dropping a pen, as you can see here, it will be falling down, right? And even when we are falling, we are actually falling down, right? But talking about the moon, we are seeing moon in the night sky since a very, very long time, right? So why doesn't the moon fall? How can it be stuck to that place since a very long time? Why the moon is not falling? We know the moon is there since a very long time, around 4.5 billion years ago. So that is a huge time. Okay, so moon is there since a very long time. So why the moon is not falling? What could be the reason behind it? What could be the reason that it had stayed up in the night sky for such a long time and it is still staying up in the night sky? If we can look at the night sky in the night time, what is the reason behind it? So let's go understand the reason behind it.
I am facing some problems, so I am trying to rejoin the class. I am going to turn off this. It will connect now. Yes.
fact, if you jumped off a cliff, you would fall. Ah! But why does everything fall? We all know it's because of gravity! But if you look up at the night sky, there's one object that just stays up there. It doesn't fall. I'm talking about the moon. To answer this question, we need to realize that the moon is not just staying up there, it is orbiting the Earth. And to understand how something orbits the Earth, let's do a thought experiment. Now let's say I have a ball and I throw it horizontally. Now what will happen? We all know that it will take a path like this. Right? If I take the same ball and I threw it harder, what will happen? It will just take a longer path. Like this. Okay? Now, let's go on top of a really tall building and repeat this experiment. The paths taken will look similar. But the thing is, the Earth is not flat. Contrary to what flat earthers might believe, it's in the shape of a sphere. So if I keep increasing the initial speed, the direction of the force of gravity will keep changing as the Earth will start curving under the ball. The force of gravity will always be toward the center of the Earth. Now similarly, if I keep increasing the speed, the respective paths will look like these. Now you should be able to predict where this is going. At a point, the speed will be so large that the ball does a complete circle and comes back to the point of launch with exactly the same speed. And therefore, the cycle just repeats itself. This repetitive circling is what we call orbiting. And this is exactly what the moon is doing. So it's not perfectly right to say that the moon is not falling.
Right? Now I really hope you all understood the exact reason behind why the moon is not falling. Right? Okay. So I have a doubt here. So do you all think, just like the moon, our Earth also rotates around any object in space? Well, to give you an idea, every time Earth complete one revolution around this particular object, that will be a new year to us. Yes, okay. So students, talking about the reason why the moon is not falling to earth, I can see a lot of you are saying there is no gravity in the space. Okay, so that is one reason, but the actual reason behind it is that the moon's revolution around the earth is actually not allowing it into fall into the earth. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Okay. Alright, fine everybody. So do you all think, just like the moon that revolutes around the earth, that completely rotates around the earth, our earth also revolves around some object? What do you all think about this? Do you all think our earth also rotates or revolves around some objects?
Yes, ma'am. Our earth revolves around the sun.
Alright, so that is a very good answer. I think Priyajit has said it. So very good, Priyajit. Yes, exactly. So the earth will be revolving around the sun. Okay. So it will be taking around 1 year. Or how many days are there in 1 year? Can anybody tell me? How many days are there in 1
Ma'am,
year?
365 days.
Very good. So 1
Ma'am, and
year.
also additional 4 hours.
Yes, exactly. So we can just round it up to 365 days as of now. So Earth will be taking around 1 year or 360 days or 12 months to complete one rotation around the sun. Okay. So what we have to remember here, just like the moon that revolves around the Earth, our Earth also revolves around some object in the space, and that object is nothing other than our sun. Okay. So Aditi, can you please mute yourself? Aditi, could you please mute yourself? Alright, Aditi, could you please mute yourself? Alright. Okay, fine. Okay, so talking about the Earth that revolves around the sun, not only Earth, there are even more planets that revolves around the sun. Okay, so the planets that revolves around the sun and their moons and even the sun, all these things together makes up the solar system. Okay, so there are 8 planets in the solar system, and all these planets will be revolving around the sun. Okay, so Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So these are the 8 planets that revolve around the sun. Okay, and talking about the planets as well as other specialities, we have to discuss a lot of things. So our master tutor has specially prepared a lot of things to show you all. Okay, so let's go watch it and come back soon.
The dwarf planets, satellites, meteorites, comets, asteroids, and everything that goes around the sun.
This is so cool. But then where are we going first?
So first, let's go to one of the objects that is furthest away from the sun. Let's go to one of the dwarf planets, Pluto. Pluto is extremely cold. Its average surface temperature is around minus 220 degrees Celsius. Now, this is because it's extremely far away from the sun, and therefore it does not receive much of the sun's heat. And because it's so far away, it takes a really long time for it to go around the sun. It takes about 250 years. This means that if you lived on Pluto, you would celebrate your birthday once every 250 years. Pluto is also extremely tiny, and that's why it's called a dwarf planet. In fact, it's so tiny that it's actually smaller than our own moon. An interesting fact about Pluto is that its orbit is slightly tilted, like this. It's not in the same plane as the rest of the planets.
It looks so small. No wonder it's a dwarf planet. What's next?
Now let's go to Neptune, the last planet from the Sun. Neptune is an ice giant. It's called an ice giant because it's predominantly made of ice and is huge. It's so big that you can actually fit about 60 Earths into it. To give you a better idea, if the Earth was the size of a pea, then Neptune would be the size of a ping pong ball.
Why is that planet so blue?
The dark blue clouds of Neptune are a complete mystery. No one really knows what they're made of. And also, because Neptune is so far away from the Sun, it takes about 164 years to complete an orbit. The planet we've reached right now is Uranus. Uranus is also an ice giant because it's also made of ice and its size is very similar to Neptune. If the Earth was the size of a pea, then Uranus would be the size of a golf ball, which is slightly bigger than a ping pong ball. Now, Uranus also has 27 moons.
But I thought there is only one moon. Our moon.
Well, any naturally occurring object that goes around a planet is called a moon. The Earth has one such object, which we call the moon, and similarly Uranus has 27 such objects, therefore it has 27 moons. Now, the funny thing about Uranus is that it's the only planet that has an axis of rotation that is almost horizontal. And those blue clouds that you see, they are made of a gas called methane. Uranus is also the first planet to have been discovered using the telescope.
I didn't know planets could spin like that.
Saturn, one of the most beautiful planets. It looks huge, doesn't it? It's much, much bigger than even Uranus. If the Earth was the size of a pea, Saturn would be the size of a tennis ball or an orange. In fact, you could fit about 760 Earths into Saturn. Now, Saturn also has a lot of moons. It has about 60 moons, the largest of which is called Titan and is even bigger than Mercury, one of the planets that we will be visiting. The most distinctive characteristic of Saturn is its rings. These rings are made of small particles of rock, dust, and ice. They are said to be the remains of a moon that broke into small pieces. You can say that each of these pieces is a moon of Saturn. The planet itself is made mainly of gases. That's why it's called a gas giant. It is said to have a solid core, but no one has seen it.
It's so huge. This planet is so pretty, especially its rings.
Jupiter, the largest and the most massive planet in the solar system. It's so huge that you can fit around 1,300 Earths into it. If the Earth was the size of a pea, then Jupiter would be the size of a baseball, which is slightly larger than a tennis ball. It is also called a gas giant, mainly because it's predominantly made of gases and is said to have a rocky core. It's so heavy that its mass is more than double the mass of all the planets put together. Do you see that spot over there? That's actually a storm that's been raging on the surface of Jupiter for around 200 years now. It's so large that you can actually fit 3 Earths into it. It's called the Great Red Spot. Jupiter rotates extremely fast. In fact, its speed of rotation is the fastest amongst all the planets. This high speed of rotation causes these striped cloud patterns and these ferocious storms.
Wow! I can't believe I'm standing on another planet. Everything is so red out here.
I know, it is, isn't it? It's because of a chemical called iron oxide. It's similar to rust. You can say that Mars is rusting. Let's go back to the spaceship. Our home planet looks awesome, doesn't it? It's funny how everything that happened in our lives and in all of history took place in that little rock floating around in space.
Ah, come on, I know everything about the Earth. Let's move on to the next planet.
If you say so. Venus. Venus and the Earth are almost the same size. Venus is also the closest planet to the Earth, and therefore it's actually visible during night. It's the brightest planet in the night sky. And Venus does a couple of weird things. For example, its time period of rotation is actually longer than its time period of revolution. What that means is that a day will last longer than a year on Venus. Also, when viewed from the top, Venus is the only planet that rotates in the clockwise direction. Let's take a closer look. Venus is also the hottest planet in the solar system, even though it's not the closest to the sun. This is because it has a thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid that traps the heat. Mercury, the last and final planet. The planet that is closest to the sun, also the planet that is smallest in the solar system. Because it's so close to the sun, it's quite hot, and it takes only about 88 days to go around the sun. It has a rocky surface and no atmosphere. Now, there are a couple of curious things about Mercury. A day lasts longer than a year in Mercury as well. And number two, we've actually found traces of water ice on Mercury, despite the immense heat. So our solar system looks somewhat like this.
Now that was a brilliant explanation by our master teacher, right? Now we know all the important things that are to know about our solar system, right? Now why don't we test our knowledge by solving some interesting questions? You all ready? Okay, so let's start with the
So
first
now I will
question. So
answer.
what is the first question here? Which of the following is the fifth planet from the Earth? Okay. So what is the question? Which of the planet is the fifth planet
So if
from
you
the
like this
Earth?
video,
Okay.
please
So I want all of you to be very
comment,
clear that
like
the question is
our
not
video and
about
share
the
our
planet,
video, and
the
also
fifth planet
don't
from the
forget
sun.
to
Okay.
subscribe
So if we
our
click on the
channel.
sun, we know
Thank you.
Jupiter will be the fifth planet, right? If we are looking at it from the sun. But here, what is the question? Fifth planet from the Earth. Okay, so we have to
Bye
consider from
everyone.
Earth.